were his parents, and were they okay with his relationship with Michael?
Yes, they were very happy with his relationship with Michael, and indeed have always encouraged him to come along to Neverland. But when he comes, the parents are in guest suites, are in little houses on the actual estate itself, but they're not in the house.
You think it's sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual. We're going to sleep.
Do you come away from your experience thinking that authorities should look into how he is treating children at Neverland?
I think I come away from the experience deeply saddened and quite disturbed by what I saw. Michael Jackson has sufficient financial power to be able to protect himself so well that you cannot get into his house, whether you're a member of the FBI or anybody, unless you have an appointment. And that means that he's a law unto himself in his house. Now, I repeat, I never saw him do anything offensive to a child, ever.
I love climbing trees. I think it's my favorite thing.
Don't you prefer making love or going to a concert, or do you prefer, you really mean that you prefer climbing trees and having a balloon fight?
Yeah, water balloon fight.
And you prefer
Another subject, sex. What did you get the feeling was his attitude towards sex?
I think he's very, very frightened of sexual intimacy, and I think also he isn't a particularly sexual person. The background to that may be something to do with the things that his parents taught him from their religious beliefs as Jehovah's Witnesses. I think he grew up to see sex almost as a kind of suffering, as something you had to go through, but not something that one could enjoy.
Plastic surgery. You expressed the skepticism that I think a lot of people would when Jackson said that all he's ever had is 2 operations on his nose to help him breathe better. Does he really believe that?
I think he relies on the fact that his medical records will never be revealed to anybody. There's a confidentiality involving doctors, and therefore none of us will ever be able to say categorically that he's had more than the number of operations he says he's had.
Is there an on-stage Jackson that we saw and a different Michael Jackson when the cameras are off?
I don't think there is. I think when you saw him, you saw how isolated, how on some occasions how bored he is.
I cruise through the hallway late at night sometimes.
You are joking.
No, I'm serious.
How he looks for games and gadgets to fill his time. Whoa! It's very difficult for him. He has been at the very heights of the musical business. And it's hard for an individual to be that high and then to come down the mountain. And I'm really quite worried about how the next few years will play out for Michael Jackson, because I think he finds the whole idea of a declining career impossible to cope with.
One of the memorable moments in the broadcast is that multi-million-dollar shopping spree in Las Vegas.
This one, this one.
I tell you, this man is the king of retail therapy. We went shopping, and he spent $6 million in one visit in one shop. And that's what it was. You watching the film, as you've just seen, I'm racing round checking the price tags, and he's going too quickly, because prices are irrelevant to him. The other thing to remember about Michael Jackson is he's a shrewd businessman. He owns half the back catalogue of the Beatles' music. That returns millions of dollars every year. He owns the licensing and publishing rights to his own music. What does that return a year? Millions.
Martin, there's always a kind of arrangement in these interviews. We get the story and the subject gets to make his point. After watching your broadcast, what did Michael Jackson think he stood to gain by showing you all this?
I think that he has had so much negative publicity that he felt that by opening up, he might be able to tell the truth about his life. The real problem with the film is that on some occasions he's telling the truth, and on other occasions I'm not entirely convinced that he is.
You got quite tough with Jackson in your final interview. Was he unhappy with your report?
He was very distressed. In fact, in the film that we've shown, it only has about 20% of the final interview in it. He was both angry and heartbroken and started to cry. The first time I saw him cry was when he talked about the violence of his father. The second time was when I talked to him about the allegations of sexual misconduct dating back to 1993. He was very, very upset.
Did Michael Jackson do anything to try to stop your broadcast?
Yes, he instructed some lawyers to see if they could prevent the broadcast, and in fact, they didn't have a leg to stand on, and it wasn't possible for them to do so. But as he began to realise quite what we captured on tape, I think he became more and more worried about it.
But he actually went to the lengths of having lawyers in Great Britain try to block the broadcast.
Oh yeah, he'd employed two barristers and a very expensive legal firm to see if they could consider taking action to injunct the program, that is, prevent it from broadcast.
Let's end this, if we can, with a little armchair psychology. When you hear what Michael had to say about his allegedly abusive relationship with his father, when you see his relationship now with children, his own and other people's, and his continued desire to be a child himself, what do you make of Michael Jackson?
I think Michael Jackson is a broken, childish, underdeveloped individual. Neverland is not just a house near LA. It's actually wherever Michael Jackson is. Because Neverland is the place that Michael Jackson creates, using his money to sustain the idea that he is still the king on the throne. I just wish he could confront the reality of his own life and realise that he's never going to be the pop star that he once was. That he's done great things in his life, that he should enjoy that, and that he should basically grow up and act and behave like an adult.
You don't climb trees?
No, I do not. But I don't put a lot of money on the fact that he'll do that.
I'll leave you to it.